Welcome to the Keelhauled podcast. I'm your host, CaptainLogun, and we've got a lot of Sea of Thieves news to cover today, so tie yourselves to the mast and hold fast. Ahoy there, pirates. I hope you had yourselves a good week and a good weekend. I know I did. This week, we're going to be sitting down with the Gold Hoarders to have the November episode as my cat tries to eat the microphone. Stop, Cora. So we're going to be hanging out with them and talking about Season 14 and how they're liking it so far, as well as the traps. I've definitely got some thoughts and opinions, but it's still really early for me to put a judgment on this. So for the time being, I'm going to really just kind of leave what I said in as far as like my thoughts and feelings until I get a better handle on how I feel about traps, how I feel about hanging off of ledges, the commendations, all of that. All that and more in this week's episode of Keelhauled Podcast. But before I get into any of that, I have to thank the patrons. They're the ones that are going to patreon.com/Keelhauled podcast to show their support and more. They're the ones that are able to get onto this show because of that. So I want to thank everyone who is supporting, who didn't make it to the episode. And as always, if you do want to do this, you're always more than welcome. It's a matter of it being on the right Saturday of the month, which is typically going to be the last Saturday, where there is a Monday still within the month. So for example, this Monday is going to be on the 20. Cora, you really like chill out, baby. This Monday is going to be on the 25th, which means that the recording was on the 23rd. Now it wouldn't be on the 30th because the first Monday is going, or the Monday after that is going to be the 2nd of December, and we can't have that. So as you know, we're going to be sitting down and chatting with the Gold Hoarders after I read through the names of everyone that's been supporting. So thank you everyone for doing so. It really does help out with the Adobe suites, with the Podbeam fees, with trying to find better filters so that Cora will stop purring into the microphone. But until then, let's thank the patrons. Thank you to A-Chick, Toasty, L-Cute, Balls, Blue Turtle V1, Captain Chonky, Captain Longsharts, Chateau Noof, Super Pack, Zombie Killer, Cloud, Cosmic Johnson, Static Mirror, Davram TV, El Jefe Esteban, Godhammer 6, Jorby Jorbs, Carl Embo, Kylea the Aficionado, Lumpius RQ, Evil Morpheus, Space Admiral Ors, Xbox Mike 29, Norwegian, Regis Stella the Brony Pirate, Ribloid, Rustbelt Kid, Skamelt 666, Captain Dasm, Tommy D, TN Professor, Vibralux, Wezzy Cruz, Big Bad Pat, Mina Fairy, The Lore Chronologist, Deadeye Dre, Hager Owl, Jeff H, Captain Duckweed, Evil Martha, Peter Miller, Rooski Doo, Thor Von Blitz, Luke Lore the Insipid Ghost, and Wow, I broke there. Thank you all so much for your love, for your support, for the time you invest in the community. Really means a lot. And shout out to Godhammer for the Grog crew, who they just got leveled 10 distinction in their guild. Huge deal. I know our guild is working strong on getting some more levels in on our distinctions and stuff. Saw a lot of you sailing this weekend, so really happy to see that. Thank you so much for the efforts putting in, and hopefully we'll be able to do some more in the future here. With that, let's get into it. Recording. Welcome everyone to the November episode of the Gold Hoarders for Keelhauled. This is a good time to be recording as we are finally actually after the promised patch, the patch that was going to return all of the features that were intended at the beginning of season 14 into the game, on top of the fact that this is actually the community weekend. So I've been watching some streamers, getting my Twitch drops, and enjoying the general camaraderie of people playing around with traps as well as hanging off of ledges. Seen some really fun times on different, like Fuzzy Bond, and just a couple other streamers out there. So it's also been talking with some folks about how their time with the different commendations and trials and tribulations with traps. I know I have some thoughts, but before I get into any of that, I have to introduce who's on the panel this week. As per usual, it is our my three favorites who jump on every community episode when possible to kind of chat about what Sea of Thieves is like. We have Godhammer6. Godhammer, how you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm enjoying everyone kind of jumping into Sea of Thieves and actually checking out the new content.
Same.
As usual, we also have Regis Stella. Regis, how you doing, buddy?
Yeah, I'm doing good. And nice to see that finally all of season 14 is out, and with some additional things that I hope I can actually keep promising to, just keep the players engaged, like that pirate luck voyage and that Logun bonus. But yeah, let's hope they actually keep the schedule, because I swear Rare's a bit of schizophrenic or some shit. Whoops, sorry.
No worries. We try to keep things as positive as possible. And last but not least, we also have Static Mirror. Static, how you doing?
Doing pretty good today. I haven't touched it yet today, but after the recording, I have plans on hopping in with my crewmates.
Fantastic. Well, in that case, try to keep you guys from having to worry about it too much. I wanted to bring something up before we got a chance to really dive into season 14. Have you guys checked out this new compass that's being made, the consulting of the compass on the Sea of Thieves website, to kind of like give you a guidance in Sea of Thieves? Is this something you guys have looked at all?
Yeah, I've looked at it, and it's basically like an idea generator kind of thing. Like, it's weird. Let me just get the link to it on the website, so that way we can, for those who haven't seen it yet,
I got that for you, actually.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. So yeah, effectively what this is it's kind of like Sea of Thieves' Magic 8-Ball. You ask it, what should I do? It gives you a prompt, and then you go out and do it. It's pretty random for the most part, but I wanted to pose a question because this is something that, for intents purposes, I usually have commendations to be grinding out. So not something that I see myself using, but what did you guys think of this? Do you think that this is something that should have been in game, or should have been like something that's just for fun? Any cadence or not cadence, but I'm trying to think of the word that I'm looking for, but any importance that you think that this could be something that should be brought in actually the game itself?
I don't know how they would introduce it into the game of itself, but I do think that it does provide a lot of fun, interesting ideas. I think the one that I saw that was the most interesting was everybody gets a chest of 1,000 grogs and then has a foot race around the perimeter of smugglers, and that seems really dumb and fun, especially when you remember you're going to have to cross that footbridge right at the arches to get into the bay.
Yep.
And it looks very fun. I like that. I think it's interesting, especially if you're not that serious a crew, and you don't really feel the need to grind out everything like I do with my brainworm specifically. Like, what do we got here? We've got death-defying diving, holding a diving competition in the Devil's Roar and get footage of each complete dive.
I like the one that I got was complete a Captain's Riddle quest voyage with a chest of sorrow and a chest of rage on board.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that is manageable, but very, very fun suggestions in this Compass of Chaos. I do like it.
Static Davram, or sorry, not Davram, Regis. I was looking at Davram's name in the one of the other Discords. Anything that you guys can share or feel about as far as like the consulting the compass, or is it just kind of like a fun thing that you like that they threw out there?
Well,
I mean, go ahead.
You go, Static.
Okay. I mean, it's interesting to say the least. If you are really not in the mood to do anything particular, but just kind of goof around, that's perfect. It would be interesting to see it actually come into the game instead of just on the website, because it would be easier access just to do it like at a main screen or whatever, and then you and your crew can just decide whether or not you want to do it. Plus, if they really wanted to have some fun with it, they could lock accommodation behind it, complete so many, little weird challenges.
Yeah, I could totally see that.
Yeah, I agree as well. Like for the people who don't use the website, like this could be like, okay, why would you put it on the website when only a certain percentage of pirates use the website for, like, say, insiders or the occasional like forum disputes kind of thing.
Mhm.
But yeah, just seems like I like the idea, just a wasted opportunity to put it on the website. Like maybe could have been in the game, but still.
Well, you never
Dude.
know. It could have been something. Sorry to cut you off there, Godhammer,
It's all
but
good.
I was just
Go ahead.
thinking, this could be like the test bed for it. Maybe.
A thought just occurred to me.
Careful.
Put an in-game representation of it
Yeah.
by Lorena,
What?
associated with the bilge rats.
Lorena. Actually, that's a great idea. Yeah. Make it the.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you
I
put
agree.
it. You
That's
put it.
actually really a smart.
You put it next to Lorena, as like a little thing that you just walk up to, press the prompt. It plays a little wooey woo emotion, or a little wooey woo effect, and then it gives you a text prompt afterwards.
How would that wooey woo sound go if you could do it? I appreciate that. I might turn that into a bumper. So I am actually with you on that. I think that the bilge rats represent the like, call this like a compass of chaos or something. Put more bilge rat commendations tied to it, as Static said. Give yourself some fun, like pink and white style of cosmetics kind of tied along with the initial design of this compass. And yeah, totally. Just make it like a random, like you all go out, you vote on the compass decides your fate. And then Lorena gives you a compass once you've like committed to tell you what, even go further, turn this into an emissary, turn the bilge rats into an emissary with an emissary flag. And all it is just follow your nose and create chaos. And the compass of chaos determines what your fate is. And you spin it every time you do something. Every time you complete it, it gives you a little bit of emissary grade, and you just get benefits to, everything that you would possibly want from like a chaos driven kind of bilge rat faction.
Yes.
Sorry, did I steal the thunder out of everyone's thoughts on that, or anyone? What are you guys thinking?
Yeah, I like that idea. Just give the bilge rat something more than just anything basically at this point.
Maybe they could do that. That would be. All right. Anyone have any thoughts on that, or did we kind of exhaust the concept there? Feel good about it? All right. Anyway,
you got my one good idea for the week.
What were you going to be covering in between then? When you said that you had like thoughts and ideas about season 14, that was the one good idea.
That was my one good idea. I didn't say the rest were going to be great.
Oh, fair. Okay. All right. Well, in that case, let's talk about season 14. We got traps. We got hanging over ledges now. I feel like we've pretty much gotten everything that we were originally promised with season 14. So have you guys gotten a chance to dive into it first off?
Yes.
You guys doing all right? Do I need to get a coffee?
I have done. When did it drop? It dropped last Thursday, or is it this? No, it was last Thursday.
No, it was Monday that we got the actual patch.
Oh, it was Monday.
Because they had that critical delay that caused it to.
That's right. It's been a long week. Yeah, I've done. Okay. What do you want first? Good or bad?
Let's start with the bad and let's end on the good. And
bad news. Yeah, bad news first. That way we can balance out with good news.
Okay. I've got two things that are bugging me. One, while the disguises feature were offline, I unlocked the Chest of Fortune disguise the day after they took disguises offline, and I was so excited on Monday to unlock those. And Monday rolled around and they're still locked.
Ooh.
And I have done everything I need to unlock the Coral Marauders chest, and that is still locked. Now, I know they're working on it. I've seen people say they're working on it. Oh, but it's driving me crazy. I was looking forward to getting that Chest of Fortune disguise real bad, and I just want to unlock it, guys. Help me out.
Yeah, that's rough.
Second, traps are inconsistent. They're just not staying on the ground for like any like measurable length of time. I've had some, they just disappear.
Yeah.
They just straight up disappear, like in front of my eyes. I've seen that happen. Me and Witch threw down traps as like an experiment to see how long they would last. And we had a trap disappear 8 minutes, then 21 minutes, then 13 minutes, and it was random, which is better than what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be I thought it was them disappearing over a certain time,
Mhm.
just as like maybe saving memory on the
Yeah.
server. But
That's my
that does
thought.
not appear to be the case, which is good, because that just means it's a bug, and bugs I can deal with. If they were disappearing over a set amount of time, that sort of renders the ideas of traps useless, because you want them to stay in the world for a while,
Yeah.
but they're not doing that. I had a trap. I set a trap for a boat coming into the outpost. At the end of my session, I wanted to see if I could get this guy. So I threw a trap down underneath my karma crate.
Yeah.
And I forgot to eat a mer fruit, so he clocked my mer person coming in. So we had a nice little conversation while I was tucked in the bushes, and I'm like, "Hey, there's a karma crate on the dock," and he says, "Oh, thanks, buddy." And he goes down and grabs the karma crate and said, "Oh, you were supposed to be caught in a trap there." And he says, I don't know what to tell you." And I'm like,
Yeah.
Well,
that's rough.
I'm like, "Well, enjoy the supplies," and I logged off.
That's the real karma right there.
Traps are inconsistent. I want to give other people a shot to say their piece, because I've been talking for a hot second.
How dare.
And then we'll circle back to the good news.
All right, sounds good.
So you said that some of your traps disappeared at 8 minutes and some disappeared at 21 minutes. I'm wondering if there's a limit on how many traps are allowed to be on a server at a time. So if you and your crew are throwing down traps, what's to say that there's not other pirates that are out there doing the same thing?
No, that doesn't
And there's just a max limit.
Nah, pirates don't play this game. What are you talking about? I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. But yeah, I actually think.
I mean, it could be just a theory. Maybe there is just literally a limit on how many can actually be placed in the world. So if one disappeared at 8 minutes and then another one disappeared at 21 minutes, maybe it just took a little while before other pirates are throwing them down as well, and it just rendered one away that was like the longest out.
Very possible. I think that's a fair question, because we genuinely don't know like how this system works. We're all just kind of guessing and hoping at the moment, like that we find out how or why some things like that are happening. Maybe that's something that we can actually see them address in an upcoming update. Just kind of like saying like, hey, the consistency of traps will be a little bit more known, so that way we can like I think it would be nice if we could actually like set a timer to the traps to help get a better idea, like, okay, if we're going to be using traps, you know, we know that generally 5 to 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes is going to be when we're going to necessarily need this, and kind of go from there. That's all I had on that one though. What do you guys think? Get more information on it?
I think it's just broken.
Fair.
I think it just needs to be fixed before anything else. I generally just don't think it's anything more than something's off with it and needs to be fixed. Tale as old as 2018.
What? Yeah, no, you're not wrong about that. So were there other things that you can think of that you've kind of had umbrance with in this patch, or is that those really just the two main ones that are kind of sparking your interest?
Free has nothing. Yeah, that was generally it. Otherwise, disguises, fantastic. I love the disguises. They're easily my favorite thing about this season.
Yeah.
I want to, if anyone from the animation department is watching, you nailed it. Well done, folks. Those are just the waddling animation inside the barrel is hilarious. I love that. And also, there's something about the how quickly you just snap back to stationary that's very funny
Yeah.
about that whole animation. I love that. I managed with a friend of mine, Tengu, who is my original shipmate, finally back in the game. We managed to do some ledge hanging yesterday. We didn't manage it the second time, but the first time we jumped onto a boat. Now, this person was fairly clueless, and we clocked that rowing in to sneak onto their boat. But we got onto that ledge, and we managed to hang on for good 15 minutes before we arrived back at the outpost. We realized he was about to log off, so as I'm hanging onto his boat, I type out, "Hey, if you're gonna log off, can you Alt F4 out so we can borrow your boat?" Hang on to it.
Nice. Did you get it?
Yeah,
Oh, nice.
they didn't scuttle on the way out, so we held on there. Generally, the features where you're sneaking about are perfect. I love them.
Yeah.
I don't have anything to add. I really enjoy them. The skeletons seem to know where you are on their boat when you hang off their ledges, though.
Oh.
That's one little thing.
Interesting.
So we had to send 2 people over to the skeleton boat while we were hanging off those ledges to have one person cover them while the other person just sort of hangs on and gets miles.
You know what that reminds me of? Have you guys seen it's a old Naked Gun movie, but there's the meme is really popular where Leslie I think it's Leslie Nielsen is on like in front of the burning building that's like everyone's panicking, and he's like, "Nothing to see here, folks, just look away." That's what I feel like is going on in that case, and everyone's just
Canadian
like,
national icon.
yeah. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Isn't there like a combination where you had to like hang off the ledge of a shipwreck on like a shipwreck on land? Like, oh yeah,
Yes.
oh congratulations, yeah, got a combination for hanging off a ledge on a shipwreck on land. Just
Hey,
Sea of Thieves at its
counts.
finest.
It counts. Gosh darn it! No, that's pure comedy.
I went hunting for that before Rare Thief had their guide out, and I got it done before Rare Thief had their guide out. And trying to find that one at Discovery Ridge was the biggest. Oh, it was a real pain because, like, when it finally occurred to me, I'm like, surely they don't expect me to hold on here, do they? And yes, they did expect you to hold on there. I wasted so much time trying to find that ledge.
So it's a specific ledge, is what you're saying.
That's
yes,
great.
I challenge all of you listening not to look at that guide and figure it out yourself.
I will. I take that challenge. I will happily try and find out where it's at. I like that though. That's one of those ones that you don't often get the benefit of like finding on your own. Like sometimes like someone will like tell you that information ahead of time, and you don't get the benefit of like trying to find it yourself, kind of thing. And I love that is still present with some of these new commendations, especially given the nature of this one, because it's so mundane to be like, oh, go hang off a ledge on a shipwreck, and it's like, well, you got to find the right ledge. It's not just that simple. So glad to see that.
It was a fun way to kill an hour.
I know. when you say an hour, that now I'm starting to get like PTSD.
That is in total.
Oh, okay.
That is in total between all 5 islands.
That's fair. Okay, that makes me a little less worried, because you're sitting here talking about like an hour to find one ledge. I'm like, oh god, it's gonna be painful.
That one did take the bulk of the time at about 15 minutes just running around Discovery.
Oh man, I have an idea of where it's going to be. I just don't know if I can get up there in time, but I will definitely have to go check that out after this. Static, you've been kind of quiet. Have you gotten to jump in yet? Have you got to mess around with any of these?
I have not. That's why I haven't really voiced my opinion yet. I've just been mostly, my wife and I and my crewmate, we've just been mostly messing around with the blow darts.
Oh, really? Okay.
Which is actually, it's weird to say, they're stupid fun. Like
Mhm.
they are stupidly fun. Didn't think they were going to be as fun as they were. And here we all are just running around the island, all shooting blow darts at everything, testing blow darts out on this and that and seeing if it affects this. And
Yeah.
you're trying to shoot a pig or a chicken with the venom dart. And yeah, the blow darts are surprisingly a lot more fun than I was really expecting them to be. The explosive tips are a lot more powerful than was expecting. You could hit one skeleton with an explosive tip, and if there's 3 to 4 other skeletons right next to it when it explodes, they all die.
Yes, it is very nice for that. I have a question because it pertains to one of your asks for rare for a very, very long time. And I'm curious if this is something that you've tried out. With the lure dart, have you tried to shoot as many as you possibly can to get your crystal pig?
I've definitely shot a lure into a crystal pig just to watch a skeleton chase after it for a little while. But
I'm sure that's what the Merchant Alliance and the pigs would love to like know. They're like, hey, did you collect this gold pig? Kinda. Yeah. I actually hired someone to go do it for me. Oh, really? Who was that? What was this? It's a skeleton. Oh, why? It's fun. Just pure fun.
Oh, it hadn't occurred to me to shoot a lure dart into an animal and then bedazzle it with a whole bunch of lure darts.
That's what I've been wondering. Like, has he bedazzled a pig to get the crystal pig yet?
I've bedazzled a lot of things with the lure darts. And I guess if we want to talk a little slight negativity about it, that's a slight gripe of mine that the lure darts don't work nearly as well as they should.
So they're not as alluring?
Yes. I'll allow you to have that pun.
Get out.
Because there's a lot of accommodations locked behind hitting different things with lure darts and trying to get other skeletons, whatever, to go after them. You could shoot a captain with 3 lure darts and they'll just ignore him. I even run away so that way, like, they can't come after me. I'll be in the water. And then the captain's just right there, like, looking at me too, along with all the other skeletons. And he's just blinging. He's got 3 different colors blinging off of him, and they're not attacking him. And I was like, you guys are really letting me down right now because you're supposed to attack your own man.
Yeah. I've tried to experiment with how this with how it works, because it's obviously tied to like what their aggro is like pointed towards, right? And I've noticed that if I shoot darts ahead of me and before like the skeletons have spawned, and I put the darts between me and where they're spawning, then generally they'll go after the darts. Otherwise, they will probably like latch onto me and go after me the whole time. So I've had a heck of a time trying to get the gold skellies lured to the water. But it really does. It's one of those things where I feel like I need to set up those lures first and then like have them spawn or drag them to there to get them to actually do it. And sometimes they'll do it, but sometimes they won't. So it really just depends, unfortunately. But has anybody had any luck with or like any good ideas? Because I was thinking about like ducking and having that try to be like a way to try and like drop aggro from the skeletons so that maybe then they would go after the lure darts.
I feel like I got lucky or something because I cleared out the skeleton captains with the lure darts commendation on like the first or second day with the blow darts, because they didn't all go after him, but enough of the skeletons went after a captain that I just through attrition over like an hour or two managed to get it done, and it didn't take all that long. I just threw down Order of Souls voyages until it popped, and it got it done.
Well, that's nice. I have not had that luck, unfortunately. I've actually, I feel like I've had the worst luck when trying to get like the lure darts or the explosive ones on like phantoms to work properly. I feel like that's been like one of the harder things that I've been trying to do. So I haven't really like focused on that nearly as much as when I was just like working on I can't think of what I was working on something else. I think I was trying to like capture stuff with the harpoon gun. Oh no, I know what it was. I was working on the double barrel achievements, or no, the double barrel pistol achievements, and the throwing knife achievement. That's what I was working on. But yeah, I haven't had very good luck with the lure dart, so I'm kind of hoping that will change in the future. I don't know how it would, but you know, maybe.
And then I guess the other gripe I have is when I do get skeletons attacking their own captain. At the last second, the captain's like, hang on, let me eat this banana real quick and just nullify all the damage that they've just done to me.
Yeah, I could see that being frustrating too. Were there any things that you have run into that you've really enjoyed outside of like the lure dart being the one kind of main thing so far? Messed around with the harpoon gun at all?
Used the harpoon gun to get some pop-up plunder earlier today.
Oh, nice. How was the pop-up plunder, by the way?
Well, if you check the tavern, you can see the picture of me proudly standing in front of everything we pulled out of the ground right before a skeleton walked up with a keg. And if you'll notice in that picture, there are 2 kegs, mega kegs, next to me. And well, it's the whole thing is a testament to my hubris.
You wanted the photo.
The one who I wanted that photo. Yes, I did.
How
and
dare.
then the boat sunk. And what I'm describing for the audio-only people is a picture of me standing proudly in front of a chest of fortune, 2 mega kegs, an old boot, and an old hat. And you can see my partner turning to run away like a sensible player as off-screen a skeleton with a keg walks into frame. And I explode. And yes, we use the the grapple gun to get those chests as they were hiding on the mermaid's hideaway has little pillars of rock with places where you can bury stuff on them, and we used it to get up there instead of using a cannon, which was just sensible.
Fantastic. A good idea, actually. I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, that's a much easier way to go about that.
But otherwise, the grapple gun holds limited appeal. Oh, it's just occurring to me that I could have used the grapple gun to get on top of the statues at Shores of Gold that I recently did.
Ooh.
Well, we could have saved some time there.
I wonder if you could do like where else the grapple gun, like if you could use the like I am now thinking about how different frickin' what's it called? Oh gosh.
Actually,
Skeleton Thrones.
Oh, sorry.
Like Marauder's Arch. Sorry. No, you're good.
Yeah, you can easily do that now. It's not nearly as much of a problem as it used to be.
The thrones?
Yeah, the Skeleton Thrones now.
Not about that. There is also one throne on top of one of the Scully forts. So I just thought about that too. No longer need to shoot yourself 50 times until you finally get that one landing just right. You can just grapple up to the top.
Just close enough.
I can tell you about how the grapple gun saved us from a really annoying problem. There was an invisible wall just on the outside, on the staircase up from the end of the Shores of Gold. After you defeat a certain somebody for spoiler reasons, it's been It's been about 5 years.
Just spoiler it. Just say it.
If you haven't completed the Shores of Gold, you got 3, 2, 1 to pause. After you defeat the Gold Hoarder and you head up the ramps to get out, there was an invisible wall blocking one of the staircases. And me and my friend Tengu ran into that problem as we were trying to extricate ourselves with the Gold Hoarder skeleton, or the Gold Hoarder skull. And I died in the pit at the bottom, respawned on the boat, grabbed the grapple gun, and managed to grab the Gold Hoarder skull out of his hands, negating the invisible wall, which they say has been fixed in the latest patch notes I saw.
That's good.
So, yes, the grapple gun has indeed saved our Gold Hoarder skull, and we were able to turn that in successfully.
Nice. That is good to hear. It's a shame that I'm just now realizing some of the potentials with the actual harpoon gun for some of those areas, because yeah, that's very much the issue that I think a lot of us are running into with some of these older things to do. Is they're just hard to do, and you used to just be able to like have that moment where you just got really good with the cannons. That's not really as much of an issue anymore.
There's so much
my only
potential. Oh, go ahead.
My only gripe is that grapple gun is a weapon, and I know this is like taboo. I don't think it should be a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
I think if they were to lower it down to 3 shots only instead of 5 and make it a utility tool, I think that would be acceptable, because having it as a weapon really just nullifies any type of combat that you're going to want to try to get into, unless you are a sword lord and can literally survive just off of the cutlass alone and no other backup whatsoever.
Well, me, the sword lord, can tell you right now that is all you ever actually need in Sea of Thieves. There's no need for any guns. That's also not true, but it sounded good in my head.
Throw the daggers around. The daggers and the sword is a really fun combo.
Yes, I do like that combo, actually. That's actually pretty good. How do you guys feel as far as like Regis, and how are you guys feeling as far as the what's it called? The grapple gun being more of a utility as opposed to like a weapon slot?
Yeah, well, I kind of like the idea, like, you know, of moving around the world with like something as easy to use as a grapple gun, but I just really question Rare, like, to have it as like instead of like a utility weapon, it's now a weapon itself. Like, yeah, just
like something that would actually damage you.
Nah, like, you know, just I agree with Static. Like, just, you know, have it as a utility item instead of like a weapon. It's instead of like a taking up weapon slot.
Mm-hmm.
Like your compasses, your shovels, your stuff like that. Like, or just have, like, you know, out in the world for you to find with limited shots, like the trident of like the Disney sticks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would be interested to see like how do you manage that in the game so that you're actually, you know, like if it's something like the Disney stick, then you're gonna have to think about like, okay, well, where do we put it on the ship if we need it? Who's using it? How many charges does it have? Kind of stuff like that. Like if it were instead of like an ammo based system and something more of like a rechargeable harpoon, so that way instead of it being a situation where if it was like a utility like a Disney stick, then you could just drop it wherever you needed to, and as it was just kind of like hanging out, it would slowly like regain charges to be able to use. That would be, I don't know, you can make it whatever you want, like phantom arrows, or I don't know, like anytime you killed a skeleton, one of a bone would be able to be used as a what's it called? What are the things called? Grapple gun, like a harpoon kind of thing.
Yeah, but we'll let the community figure that out if and when this grapple gun becomes a utility item instead, or just like, again, like the Disney sticks, like you find the world and then just deal with it how you will.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that would have to be something that the devs themselves would probably come to much later, after they've realized like maybe the grapple gun isn't where they wanted it to be as far as like player use. In that situation, but anecdotally, do you all talk to people who use those on a regular basis, or is it really not something that a lot of folks have invested a whole lot of time and effort into?
I don't know anybody who's not using it for a specific purpose. It's only for a specific purpose, because you can't discount how useful it is to use an Eye of Reach to pick somebody off their boat.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good. It's so good, and I can't give that up for anything.
Yeah, it is exceptionally difficult to take away that amount of power when it comes to just PvP.
See, having the grapple gun used as a utility weapon, I don't think would be overpowered, because almost nobody, I'm just going to go ahead and say it, nobody uses the Disney sticks in combat. They're virtually useless when it comes to PvP. Now, when it comes to taking out sirens and other enemies, sure, they're perfectly fine, but they just disappear after so many uses. They disintegrate. So why can't we just have the grapple gun laying around on islands periodically, or at least there's one at every outpost, and when all 3 charges are expended, it basically your guy just drops it and it disappears. So it's no longer in use. You can't recharge it. You would have to find a new one. So saying that you could build up like 5 or 6 on your boat would be interesting, to say the least, because you can do the same thing with the Disney sticks. I mean, we had like 15 on our boat one day, and this was before the time that you could even sell them to get a measly 200 gold out of them.
Yeah. Definitely be interesting. I don't know. I mean, I always worry that stuff like that is going to be kind of in the same vein as like us using, what's it called? I can't think of what it's called. Like stools. Like, are they going to turn into something that is no different than the stools, and just kind of, or Disney sticks, I guess, would be a better, more appropriate comparison, right? Because those are a weapon, but also utility in some cases for PvE.
I mean, let's be honest. The stools are useless. When they added that into one of the updates, I was like, cool, for like 5 minutes. That's interesting. Now I never touch them. And if I do, it's only because I'm going to sell them to sovereigns for a couple extra gold. There's nothing locked behind the accommodations for stools or anything like that. There's no point of making stools movable other than for funny photos.
Yeah, that's fair. What's up?
Did use them once for a SOT shot because it's a good way to change your perspective down a little bit.
True.
Yes. Outside of that, largely agree.
Except now that we have crouching, which completely nullifies it.
Oh, yeah. Huh. Wow, yeah, stools are useless.
I think they're fun in some instances, but yeah, they're one of those things where it seems like the devs were like, "Hey, we figured out how to do sitting on movable objects." So we're gonna start working on making content to help support that functionality. But I don't know, as long as people are enjoying it, that's all I grab.
It was fan service. And, you know, we were all like, it's like, hey, let us sit down. Hey, let us sit down. And they gave it to us. And then we're like, oh, actually, this is a little overrated.
I think that update where it was like stools, burying stuff, and the message board and fireworks were like the one update where I was like, yeah, I get it. We're all like, you know, we've had a pretty good year. I guess it's good to, you know, kind of have like a little bit of a lesser update. For the most part, I'm cool with that. That was kind of my feelings overall on that season. So, but
at least fireworks serve a purpose. I mean, we usually fire them off every time we're done with our session, because what else are you going to do with them? Or you just shoot them at passing ships every now and then just to see if you can angle them just right, so that way they start exploding right above their deck, kind of blinding them. It's funny. But give me the option to at least fish while sitting on a stool. It sounds pointless. Yeah. It sounds real stupid and real pointless, but at least give me that option. That's all I ask.
Speaking of really weird ways of going about things, can I ask y'all about the traps? Just in the actual sense of setting them, because I was trying to build out like a flow chart on how to set a trap, because I feel like I needed to understand, one, that I grabbed a trap and that it was counting as a throwable, which means that if I had throwables and cannons, I could open up my cannon wheel and see traps there, which I have yet to be able to shove into a cannon. But when I put a trap down, the trap is there. Now, if I want to load the trap, I have to crouch down, go up to the trap, open the trap, put the item that I hopefully have in my inventory into the trap, and then close the trap. And if I want to bury it, I then have to uncrouch, go to my equipment wheel, pull out my shovel, and then start burying it. It feels like a lot to just bury a trap. Is that me? Am I just like narrowing in too much on not knowing like the process? Has that become muscle memory? help me understand if I'm crazy here or not.
No, you're not. That's a long process.
I'm glad I'm not alone on that. Maybe Godhammer, do you have any tips, or have you messed around or paid too much attention to that?
I haven't been able to do anything like that. I haven't. See, it's one of those things that you have to sort of first off, they're not consistent, and the problem with that, the consistency is really the biggest problem, because to do that is it's a process. It's going to take like 20 seconds to pull off, and so that negates sort of like just throwing down a trap in the middle of a fight to see if you can get lucky having them run into it.
Mhm.
So this has to be something you planned. But the problem with the game, not the problem, but the main thing with Sea of Thieves is that it's so unpredictable. Nothing it's hard to predict unless you can sort of focus somebody into a choke point, like at Reaper's Hideout. If you have a couple traps buried there, it could work, but you have to do that in advance. You can't just stop in the middle of a fight, tell them, hey, hold on a second, toss a trap down, load the trap, bury the trap. It's like, all right, game back on. So you have to be ready for them to do that, and you have to have them not notice. And one of the problems with the noticing of the traps is that when you go to bury the trap, it gets rid of the foliage that's on the ground that you would hope would sit there and obscure the trap.
Yep.
So there are issues with the trap. I don't necessarily dislike the trap, but I am wondering how the scope of its use cases and how often I will engage with them, because it seems like it needs to be, if not a little bit more fluid, then simply just more consistent. Because as long as I know that the trap is going to sit there, then I can work around that. I can sort of angle events to try and make that happen. But if I go through all of that and the trap just disappears, then what am I doing here?
Yeah, that kind of defeats the whole point. So yeah, a little more predictability in the sense that the traps are not lasting as long as they ought to, or at least in a predictable manner, I think goes a long way to kind of address some of the use cases for the actual traps themselves. I like how much damage the traps do. I just don't like that's kind of where like the reference to the stools come in for me with traps in this case. Like the trident feels very much akin to like the grapple gun as far as use. It'll be nice, but giving up a weapon slot is not what I would want to do for that. The traps feel like stools, where they're cool if you have them, but they're so use case and there's so much prep time involved or needed to be able to really capitalize on traps that I don't see them really being used too often for PvP in particular, which, half of this game is focused on PvP, which if you look at the commendations does, there are things that you need to do with the traps. And I feel like there's always like I feel like there's always this best case scenario going on over at the studio where they're like, this is exactly how we're hoping players play. And much like that one adventure where they're like, oh, everyone's going to go into this instanced world by the Sea of the Damned version of Sea Dog Tavern, and it'll be great. They'll all work together. They'll all take down the other, and it turned into a grief fest. And it really showcases like when the devs have an idea of how the community is going to come together and really have a good time with these tools, and it either works out in a way that does not convey what the community actually intends for each other, or it just doesn't get used nearly as much as the dev team was hoping. Kind of like with Shrouded Deep, where it took multiple crews to summon and do the actual Shrouded Deep event. It was very tough to like garner people's attention enough to be able to do something like that. I see with the traps, it's like it's going to take too much for you to set up one of these traps for you to justify taking the time to try and like get people to get trapped, if that makes sense.
It's going to turn into basically, hey, I need you to log into the game and get multiple ships on one server with you and your friends, and then do all this trap stuff and go, just pretend the trap's not there and walk over that for me, would you please? Thanks.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to turn into, is basically convincing your friends to get onto the same server as you and just knock out the accommodations for the traps that way. Because Godhammer's correct. Like, there's no predictability, and trying to convince someone to come onto your island when they know, oh, don't go onto the island, most likely he's got a trap set, wait for you somewhere. Yep, I can see it in the sand from the boat.
Mm-hmm. So what would they do? Do you guys have any ideas on like what Rare could accomplish to try and make this easier? Is it one of those things where they need to take out some of that like setup and just be like, if you throw a trap down, you have you can stand up and look at it and then say like, okay, open trap, drop item, bury, leave it at that. Take out the whole necessary like pulling out your shovel, take out the whole crouching to be able to access the actual inventory. Like, what are the tools that you guys can think of, if any, to try and justify like why this is going to work out if they do these tweaks?
Oh, it's for me, it's simply they just have to make sure that the traps will sit around for a good while before they do it. Because I can think of multiple ways to have them buried and pull it off.
Mm-hmm.
I will just look for new players doing the Siren Song voyage and bury those traps right in front of Briggsy, or do it right by the pop-up plunder as it comes up. I'll just wait for a boat to come by and throw down the traps and wait for them to go and grab it, and then get them that way. I just need them to be consistent.
Yeah.
I assume that they have realized how much it's going to take, because to get the secret snare setter commendation, you only have to take out 5 other pirates with the buried traps. So it's not like you're going to have to take out 100 of them.
I appreciate.
And the trap ease artist commendation, you only have to disarm 10 enemy traps. The problem with that, again, is if the enemy traps are inconsistent, they will disappear before you get a chance to disarm them.
Yeah.
So that fixing the consistency is the only real issue that I see there.
Note to self: stay off any server Godhammer is on. There will probably be traps everywhere.
I mean, I would expect it of him for sure.
I am very, very sneaky.
I think you underestimate my sneakiness. Okay, real quick, I wanted to let everyone know that the community weekend is live. There are, I think still have not actually hit grade 5. And we are just a hair away from nailing the community weekend goal of the world events, which actually, no, it looks like that actually got completed. So yeah, the bonus Twitch drop should now be available as of the time of recording this, which means that if you want to get that obsidian chandelier, for those of you that actually have galleon crews, first off, congratulations. Nice of you to have that in your wheelhouse. Doesn't do anything for us sloopers, but happy for you. That should be going live or available. So hopefully you guys are watching this weekend to get your Twitch drops. I'm not impressed with the Twitch drops right now. But that being said, the obsidian chandelier is kind of like the main thing to really be getting there. So what do you guys think of them doing these kind of events? Are you happy with them? Are you looking forward to getting your Obsidian Captain's chandelier?
I don't mean to immediately correct you after you've just gone through that.
What is it?
The chandelier will be available on Monday, and will be available for a week.
That's right.
To collect from Monday to Monday.
I forgot that's how they they did it last time. Which,
they've done it again.
funny enough, that was Static. Weren't you upset that the last time that they did this, that you thought you had missed out, and turned out that you had the time?
I did. I still had a day left by the time I figured it out. But yes, that's so. I guess in a sense, I'm okay with them doing that, because a whole week to get that one extra Twitch drop is really nice.
Yeah.
Especially when it's limited to making sure the community hits the goal.
Yeah. So thank you. I appreciate that. I completely forgot that was how they were doing those now. So yes, as Godhammer said, you got the week starting Monday. So by the time this goes live, that should be available, since we just hit the goal for the world event completions. So glad to see that Galleon lovers out there will be able to have their pretty little Obsidian Captain's chandelier in this case.
You say that as if you couldn't get a Galleon crew running with a snap of your finger.
It would like a couple snaps, like an Adam's family's worth of snaps at least, to be able to get that. But yes, it wouldn't take much, but I would still have to do that. And I don't know. I always feel like, you guys want to go run in a Galleon? And everyone's like, man, Galleon. So I don't know. I would like to see, I'll probably log in at some point on Monday and throw up a Galleon just to take a look at this and see how it all looks together. So what are we missing though? Are we still missing parts of the Obsidian stuff that hasn't been released that we know they would actually probably release? I'm not talking about that capstan. Like, we all know that. That's not gonna happen.
The captain's chair.
Oh, they didn't do the captain's chair yet?
Not yet.
Okay. Oh no, it was the table last time, wasn't it? It was the table.
Yes.
Okay. Don't make me feel like I'm crazy. Yeah, I'm looking at season 13. It was the captain's table, because it was the rug before the captain's table. I guess I haven't really paid too much attention beyond that, because it's probably going to be for the Galleon, and I'm usually on Sloop. Last season we had numbers come out, and they talked about like how many people did this, how many people did that, and there was a bit of a kerfuffle around people saying numbers are down. And you looked at the analytics and you could tell there was up in like ebbs and flows with the metrics that they were providing over the last 3 years. So do you think Rare's going to do the same thing this year? Do you think that, or this season, do you think they're going to release the numbers? And if so, are you thinking that this may be a down season or an up season as far as like comparative metrics?
Probably a down season for the year that we had this year. Like, just a down season, because half the content was released after the season released. So yeah.
I don't think they're going to show any numbers due to some of the problems that they had with the PlayStation release, and the fact that season 14 was a complete horrible show at the beginning. I guess that's the politest way I could say it.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that the numbers in the game are just down in general due to the fact that there's no adventures. Half of my crew doesn't even play the game anymore because adventures went away. They specifically told me last week that's one reason that drove them away from Sea of Thieves, is that there's no monthly adventure for us all to sit down, figure out a time that's going to work for all of us to get together and do this as a crew on a galleon, which we never seem to sail anymore. But so I don't think they're going to release the numbers and show everybody, hey, our numbers are down. What can we do to make that better?
Godhammer.
You cut out slightly through that. Your question, and I didn't hear all of it.
Oh, so pretty much kind of looking at season 14, they've had some struggles. Last time they did a community weekend in season 13, people were comparing it to prior seasons metrics as far as like the different things that pirates have done and how many people like fired cannons, ate fruit, stuff like that. Do you think they're going to release numbers for this season for the community weekend? And if so, do you think that they'll be higher or lower than season 13?
Oh, okay. I imagine that they will release something like that. I don't think they're going to go deep dive into like how many people are doing what. They're not going to be like real detailed to see like how many pirates set sail and that sort of thing, but they'll probably do like 70 odd million bananas were eaten, so many odd were fired out of a cannon. I'm pretty sure they'll do like how many people got trapped or whatever. I don't think it's going to get super deep into it, but I think they will.
Okay. I look forward to seeing if they do. I would love for them to have something to boast about, just to say like, hey, you know, we know that the season 14 not as intended. We did push the patch. We did address a lot of the concerns. As of right now, I feel like the update that they put out has been relatively solid. I've seen a lot of people streaming, a lot of people talking about it. So I hope that they do, just because I hope that folks actually came back in for the Voyage of Luck, the login bonus, as well as the Twitch drops and pop-up plunder this community weekend, to really kind of give them some data to see like, are things working? Are things going as intended? Is the time that they spent working on the patch paying off? Because if it is, more reason to say like, okay, maybe we do need to hold off instead of trying to hit a arbitrary date for everything, and just kind of whatever's working and working well, plan it better, obviously in the first place, test it better and obviously in the first place, but get out what you can that you feel confident is solid. And then if stuff needs to trickle in throughout the season, be upfront and honest about the development of that kind of thing. All right. Was there anything else y'all can think of to address before we head out? Did you guys, I know some of you did and didn't, but anybody get the gold edged Voyage of Luck? I didn't.
I did not.
Have not.
No.
I haven't
played it yet.
I haven't even logged into the game yet to get it.
Okay.
Or to play it.
Well, make sure you do, because it's quick. It's one island, and you'll definitely know if it's worth it.
Quick question. Is it a bottle or is it given to you when you log in?
It's going to be in your limited time voyages section on the captain's table. So just go to...
Got it. One-time use thing.
Yep. So any of those limited time things, and that'll be reoccurring each month at the beginning of the month. So that first week, not only are you going to get the login bonus, but you'll also get that Voyage of Luck. So what is this? December? No. 2 weeks. I think 2 weeks. We're going to be having the other one.
It shows up when they drop an update.
Oh, is it?
So
I thought it was
monthly update. No, it's with every monthly update.
So they're going to be doing this going forward?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's pretty dope, actually. I'm okay with that.
Every time they do an update, you're going to get, if you log in the first week of the update, you get 50,000 gold and 50 doubloons, and you'll also get the Voyage of Luck.
I completely misunderstood that. I thought that was going to be at the beginning of the month. You're right. It is 100% on the monthly update, which is probably why they're more comfortable doing it this middle of the month as opposed to starting it up at the beginning of December. Okay, so next one probably won't be until the middle of December in that case. Yeah, head over to Quest Table in the limited voyage section. Pirate Legends will see a legendary Voyage of Luck, and you'll be able to grab the next one in the middle of December when they do their update. Then I think that was pretty much everything. Really like those. I like the loot pool for those. So hopefully you guys get something good. The one that I think is really interesting to me is the grade 5 emissary flags, because I think that's kind of a little bit of a testament that the emissary system isn't quite as used or easy to get as I think they would hope that they were, but maybe that's just me.
I like it as just like a little slot machine sort of voyage.
Mm-hmm.
Take your update, pull the lever, and see what you get out of it.
Yeah. See if you get lucky. I agree. All right, folks. It is at that time. I appreciate you all hanging out with me. Is there anything else that you guys want to talk about, or are you guys good to go? All right.
It's not this week, but next week, the week after this coming one is the Legends Week as well. So
That's
put
true.
that on your calendar.
Yeah. We got the Pirate Legends Week coming out at the beginning of December. Looking forward to that. Should be a good time, because I really enjoyed the last time we actually had it as well too. I think that is it. As we kind of go down the list, shout out what you got going on or what you're up to or anyone that you want to say hi to. So Godhammer, as we're rounding out the end of the night or the end of this episode, I should say, anyone you want to say hi to, shout out, or anything that you got going on?
Oh boy, how the Grog is closing in on level 10 distinction.
Nice.
Proud of our group. They finally got off Grand Theft Auto and they're back on the seas. And happy to have my buddy Tengu come back onto the seas. He's been joining our the Chaos Gremlins, Witch and Sam, and we've done a galleon recently a couple times with him, and I'm happy to have him back after a long time. He was my original. He was part of my original crew 4 years ago.
Oh wow!
Wow. And happy to have him back, and it's been great. And we can hourglass later, or
I will have to check and see what's going on because I have, let's see, Call of Duty review. I'm still working on, but I do want to get on the seas. So potentially
I'm putting it on there to put the pressure on you.
No, yeah. No, I know. I can't remember. Did I actually respond to you on Discord? I can't remember if I responded. Oh my God. I'm sorry. Yeah. I remember reading your text messages and I was like, oh, I should get back to him. And then I just did the thing where people read the message and then forget to actually respond. So
sorry. He did, folks. He did. He just hasn't gotten back to me since then.
Gotcha. Okay. I was sitting here thinking about it.
Don't judge him too harshly.
I responded in a way. It's not the best way, but it was a way to actually, this is the way. All right. As we're kind of rounding out, Regis, anything you want to say or shout out as we get into this?
Two things. One, I have finally voted on one of my favorite quests on the website called Space Battles, which, in case you don't know, quests are basically interactable fan fiction where you get to level up, grind stuff, kind of thing. Okay. And this one's called The Web of the Spider-Man, where you basically get to control Peter Parker as he becomes a superhero in New York. And for once, Peter Parker isn't screwed over by Marvel writers' tenacity to make Peter's life as miserable as possible. And the second thing is we're now at community grade 5 now.
Well, that's good. I know we're working on that. Awesome.
Yeah.
And Static, you got anything that you got going on that you wanted to shout out or say before we head out?
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to one crew member that has stuck around even during the slow time of Sea of Thieves, and that is Havenbrook. He's been my dedicated crew member for quite some time now, and without him, I probably wouldn't be playing because I just don't find the game fun by myself anymore. Just how it is. But
I feel you.
Yeah, still waiting on my crystal pigs and bagpipes and kilts. That's it.
Fantastic.
One of these days you gotta get those bloody pigs and kilts and bagpipes.
Yep, one day.
The entire world will collectively hear a very high-pitched scream the day that happens.
That's how we know. That's how we know that the game will be feature complete at that point. We'll have this one moment where we're all hanging out, sitting there, thinking could they possibly do crystal pigs? And the answer is yes. And that's how you know Sea of Thieves will finally be able to rest. Alrighty. Well, I hope you guys have a good rest of your weekend. That is going to do it for this episode. And I'll let y'all get back to the seas.